CBS 2 Broadcast Center in Chicago. This is CBS 2 News at 6.
It's the most somber time in our lives, a loved one's funeral or wake. In some Chicago neighborhoods, the mourning happens under the threat of gang violence. CBS 2's Jim Williams reports community leaders are calling for state lawmakers to crack down on it.
For decades, June Williams has offered comfort to the grieving at her funeral homes, including this one on West 79th Street. But that experience did not prepare her for this.
A gentleman went up to see his brother who had been killed, and, I'm standing at the casket, so of course I'm thinking, oh, how touching, he's grieving over his brother, and another man walked up, put his arm around him, and he stabbed him.
You saw this?
Yes.
Increasingly in Chicago, violence, often gang retaliations, plague even those sacred moments.
I have experience going to funeral homes at churches where weapons are laid up under the seats.
That's right.
These community leaders want tough legislation for those who commit violence at funerals, similar to safe school zone laws.
What is it about this legislation that's going to make any difference when you have gang members who are so brazen that they're going to walk into a church or a funeral home?
They know what gets you picked up. They know what gets you pulled over. They know what gets you held at 26 in California.
Today, funeral directors have to avoid wearing certain colors and look for the safest routes to cemeteries.
I've been a licensed funeral director for 33 years, so I've seen the changes in the industry, but this, I have to be scared for my own life now.
Some funeral directors have hired security, and police are outside funeral homes or churches if they think there is a potential for violence. State Senator Napoleon Harris is willing to sponsor the funeral legislation. Rob and Erica, funeral directors tell us that gang members will show up at services for those they've killed to score points with their leaders.
Wow. So have any of these funeral directors ever decided to turn down a funeral because of this?
They say they feel obligated to the mothers and the grandmothers of those slain gang members, and they don't want to turn them away.
Funeral home, no safe haven, nothing. It's amazing.
Nowhere.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Thank
Jim.
you, Jim.